Okay, so I'm going to be starting with the 1-6 from the lingual aspect, and I'd be sitting at about 10:30, 11 o'clock. So we're starting the 1-6. So I'm just going to insert and going to my wrist rock after making sure that my grasp is right and my fulcrum is in the proper position, and I'm far as I can be now, hitting the contact point, and I'm going to tilt the probe so that the heel is away from the tooth, and then take one or two more steps. I'm just gonna take it out and adjust. And I'm gonna go back into that distal line angle, slide down into that sulcus, going around on the lingual, the direct lingual side, and then come into my mesial, moving my fulcrum a bit here so that the probe tip can stay adapted to the root surface, and following the contour of the root under the sulcus, just going as far as I can here and kicking the heel, taking one or two steps, and just gonna take it out, come up and back to my 1-5 on the distal size, and doing the inner lingual side, just doing the same thing we just did here on the 6, and go working my way to that contact point, making sure my fulcrum's on the same spot, and inside that sulcus, walking to the mesial, tip the heel, and I'm out. Just gonna reposition here. I'd have my client sitting 11:30, 12 o'clock, just slightly turned away, and I'd be probing the 2-2 facial. And just slightly inserting here at the distal line angle on this 2-2 here. And I'm just probing all the way in here, and I can't go anymore because I hit the contact, so I'm just gonna kick the heel away and come out there. And I forgot to take one or two more steps just to make sure I hit under the sulcus and coming out. So now we're gonna go for the 3-6, 3-5 facial. And sitting at about 9:30, and I'm gonna have the model or client face towards me a bit, and I will be using my mirror here just for indirect vision, and just adjusting here before I get ready. So I'm gonna insert probe at the distal line angle, and walk, following the contour of the tooth. Trying to stand up on my fulcrum here, and just keep the tip of the probe adapted to the way the root's contour is here at the distal, and just coming out and readjusting here, and reinserting, doing my walk along the direct facial side of the tooth, and into the mesial, and dropping down, and coming out. And I'm just gonna reinsert here to do the same thing. And walking along on the facial side here, and tipping it out and out. So now I'm going to be working on the 4-3 lingual. I put the client straight, chin down, rolled a bit towards me at about 12 o'clock, And just starting on the distal lining of that 4-3 there at the corner there, and then I'm going to be inserting it and walking along all the way to the mesial, and there we go, and make sure it hits the contact and hit the teal out, and perfect. So now we're going to use, still with the neighbor's probe, just on the 1/6 and the 3/6, starting with the 3/6 here, making sure the handle is coming out of the tooth and not towards the back of the throat. That's how we determine the right working end. So I'm just gonna come in here and make sure the end of the neighbor probe is hanging the tooth, and I start distal to where the furcation is, a bit distal to that buccal groove area, and sliding into the sulcus, and going to slide and walk just a little bit to see if I can catch that furcation there. And I'm pretty sure that's all we're supposed to do for that part. Just walking and see if I'd catch the end of the instrument there. And I'm just practicing that again. And not have them turned away from me. And make sure it's still coming out of their mouth. The tip is going to hug the tooth, and just the wrong end there. And I'm going to start a bit distal. Oops, wrong end there. Oh my gosh. And try to roll underneath that furcation. And just try to roll under there and walk into it. And there we go. Now we're just going to do the 1/6 here, and with the neighbor's probe, and try to catch that furcation and roll it under. Just adjusting here and making sure my grasp is correct. And on that disto side there, seeing if I can walking a bit and then try to catch it, and I kind of caught it there. So now we're going to do the palatal root. So we need to have the client turn towards me just to reposition ourselves so that I'm closer to 11:30 or 12 o'clock. And the same end that I used for the facial, I'll now use it for the distal, just to reposition myself. The distal lingual probe. Have it wrap around the tooth, hooks around it, and then going under the gum and go into the distal lingual area and trying to feel if there's a furcation there. But now we gotta check the mesial, changing ends, and then make sure the handle is still coming out of the mouth and not towards the back of the throat. And hook into the tooth. And now I would insert it and see if I can get into the distal root there of the furcation. Okay, and taking out. And now the right angle probe on the 1/6, just going right to that 1/6 there on the distally. And remembering it's only for the distal, so I'm just going to start the distal lying angle, inserting the right angle probe, and then walk into the distal until I hit the contact point between the teeth, kicking the toe, then taking a few steps. Now I'd be at 11:30, 12 o'clock, and just doing the facial of the 1/6 there, going in with my right angle probe at the distal line angle, walk in, maintaining the contact with the tooth, so I hit the tooth and kick the heel away from the tooth surface, and then take 1 or 2 more steps there, and out. So I'm just going to do the distal line angle with the 3/7, insert my probe, and then I'm gonna walk into the distal until I hit the contact where the teeth touch, and hit the heel away from the tooth, and then take 1 or 2 more steps in. Then I'm going to take it out and reposition myself so I can do the lingual side of that tooth at about 9:30, 10 o'clock. I'm on the side of the client now. Alright, I'm just gonna start at the distal facial of the 6. Of the 7. And then I'm gonna walk in, maintaining contact with the tooth, and I hit, and I kick the heel away from the tooth, and then take 1 or 2 more steps in. And there we go. Okay, so now we're going to be using the 11-12 Explorer for the 1-6 and 1-5 facial and lingual. We're going to start with the facial. So to start, I would be retracting the cheek out here, but just for purposes of this video, I'm not too sure if you can see properly, but I would be retracting here. But then we need to determine the right working end. So right here, you can see this bend right here is not going facing like posteriorly on the teeth, so that's the wrong working end. So here we can see the bend is, and it's got that nice curve on the tooth there. So we're gonna start distally. I'm just gonna fix my fingers here. Fulcruming on this premolar, starting in the middle here and doing that quarter turn and roll, 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 roll. Doing that switching sides here. Going in, roll, 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 and out. And coming back in here. Roll, 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 and out. And doing that curve, coming in here. Oop, and grab my fulcrum and roll, 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 roll. Yeah, and that's it for that one. And just took it off the stand for this one just because it was a bit easier to see. So we got the right working end because the bend is facing posteriorly to the teeth. So going in to the 1-6, fixing my grasp here. Start in the middle there. Going around and roll, 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 roll. And out. Doing that curve. Going in here. Roll, 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 roll. Oh, and out. And going here. Roll, 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 roll. And boop, out. And going in here. Roll, 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 roll. Out. And that's it for that one. So I'm just going to position it like so. I'd be sitting at about 8 o'clock, but purpose of the video. Alright, so I'm going to start on the 2-2 here. Get in there. Roll, 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 roll. Roll, up and down strokes. And out. Do that quarter turn. And in here, roll, 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 roll. And there you go. So now we're going to do the 3-2 facial with the Orban. Alright, so I'm going to be fulcruming here. Getting in there, quick turns. Quick, 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 and out. And now the mesial, just a little quarter turn there. In there. Quick, 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 quick. And there we go. So now we're going to be using the shepherd's hook. It's good on the occlusal surface, and we would use like a light feather stroke leg just in 12 o'clock here, and kind of like a skating motion, light pressure. And its uses are for examining margins of restorations and to assess sealant restorations. So that's the main idea there with the shepherd's hook.